Today I fucked up by giving myself mild food poisoning to win a petty argument. Have you ever done a dumb thing out of spite? Buckle up. I have an ongoing zoodle infatuation because zoodles are a low-guilt sauce conveyor belt to my mouth. I've stocked up on pasta sauce and I'm taking mealtimes seriously. Nothing is wasted, leftovers are used, end of story. So a couple days ago when my boyfriend, let's call him David, found an open bottle of vodka sauce I autopilot shoved in the pantry. David, this has to go in the fridge. It's probably no good now. Me, not openly questioning my partner's judgment, but also knowing that he does not count the forehead as part of the face, so I cannot put blind faith in everything he says. It will be fine. I opened it, like, yesterday or 2 days ago. David, it should have been refrigerated. Really don't think you should eat this. Now, I've watched David put sesame oil in the fridge. He thinks soy sauce belongs in the fridge. We have very different ideas on what belongs in the fridge. But should the vodka sauce have gone in the fridge? Probably. Was I going to throw it away, both wasting food and admitting he was right? Absolutely not. Vodka sauce goes into the fridge instead of the trash. Cut to yesterday night, where I have already eaten dinner, but I am an emotional binge eater and I had to fill the sad with food. You know how it goes. What will make the sad go away? Zoodles with the opened vodka sauce. It was only until after I had made everything did I notice the perfect, circular fluff of mold growing on the lid of the sauce jar. But it's only on the lid, right? If I tell David about this, while he would never say, "I told you so," he would sit on this in quiet triumph for the rest of our lives. Mr. Forehead isn't part of the face guy. It's fine. The food is fine, I think, as I eat it. I tell myself that it doesn't taste off in the way that you tell yourself that vegetarian sausage tastes like the real thing. The vodka sauce quietly goes into the garbage. Cut to midnight, where we are watching a movie. Things are feeling off in my stomach, and there's some major gurgling going on. Then there's a shift, and pain explodes through the red carpet of my intestines for a good long while until I have no choice but to explain to the love of my life why I'm basically a fetal. David does not say "I told you so," but I know he is secretly balancing the checkbook of arguments he's won. He rubs my belly while I cry. I love him. It's now 3 a.m. and I've been farting for what feels like my entire life. Once upon a time, I had a life and a job and could go outside, and now I have no life and no job and my knees are at ear level while I'm on the john, serenading my septic system with a cacophony of rich bass and tenor farts. I'm sweating harder than I do when I work out. I'm probably working out harder right now than I do when I work out. I'm shitting my lungs out over a bad bottle of sauce and a hill I really shouldn't have died on. Don't be like me, kids. TL, doctor, I gave myself food poisoning and turned myself into an ass trumpet to win an argument. Lost the argument anyway. This happened with my ex once. She picked up some grilled cheeses from a food truck we used to love. She left them out all night. The one she got me was goat cheese, very high moisture cheese, and we got into a mild argument. Me taking the stance of throwing it away, in culinary school at this point and in the middle of serve safe training, and her saying it'd be a waste. She's her own person and I can't stop her from making decisions. She ate it. She went to work and ended up puking in a trash can. I didn't throw up any food, it wasn't the sandwich. That's how it works, man. I just didn't want you to be right about it. When in doubt, throw it out. That being said, please don't throw your milk out on the sell-by date. Use your nose for that one. Milk doesn't smell great, but bad milk smells bad. Given that it was lower GI and delayed onset, versus upper/vomiting and quick symptoms, this is food infection, versus food intoxication. To have avoided this, you might have let the sauce simmer, low boil for a good 10 minutes, not sure on timing. Do not do this for food you feed others. Your personal choice, your personal consumption only. Your boyfriend is correct, that sauce should have been discarded. Sauce, past chef, scientist, and person who doesn't want to throw out food. You won the battle but lost the war. Ha ha ha. But on another note, does soy sauce not go in THW fridge? When opened OFC, it says it on the bottle. Same with hot sauce. They're supposed to be refrigerated. David does not say I told you so, but I know he is secretly balancing the checkbook of arguments he's won. He rubs my belly while I cry. Love him. This is how you relationship. I'm going to marry this poor sucker. I don't trust his judgment solely from him choosing me as a partner. Today I fucked up by telling my husband about my Spank bank. This was a while ago, but I've only just now thought to share it with the people. My husband and I were chatting, the way spouses sometimes do, about bedroom likes and dislikes, and eventually the subject of our solo habits came up. My husband was really proud, because he said that he hadn't watched porn in several weeks and it was helping his daily focus. At this point I congratulate him and chime in with how I, too, had not watched anything in many moons. But it doesn't really make a difference, I said, because I still pull up my mental spank bank all the time. Your what? Mental spank bank, you know, like you remember pornos you've watched in the past and visualize them to finish the deed. What on earth are you talking about? After a great deal of back and forth, we discovered that my husband cannot visualize images in his head. Apparently there is a term aphantasia for this. I was totally gobsmacked and asked him dozens of questions to follow up. Apparently he always thought that when people said picture this, they meant it figuratively. He's been low-key bummed out about this ever since this discovery, because he feels like he's missing out. At least now I know why he is literally incapable of finding objects in the house. He physically can't picture the last place he put them. Too long didn't read, told my husband about how I visualize sexy things when I'm lazy. Turns out his whole life he's been incapable of visualizing anything at all. I thought this was going the way of all the seriously hung, good in bed, hot guys I banged all the time before I married you. Not that he'd be able to picture it anyway. Every few months I see a thread about aphantasia on Reddit and it always makes me feel depressed. I hate not being able to visualize things. I'm assuming by your comment that you have it. If you don't mind, I have a question. I am blind, no vision at all. Not even light. When I picture things in my head, I generally picture them the way they feel. So I know what things look like on a logical level and can put that together in my head. Is this something you can do, just without the visuals of it? Though now that I'm writing this out, I don't actually understand how sighted people imagine things. I don't know if I'm even capable of understanding it because I can't experience it. How frustrating. Edit, I never imagined I would get so many responses to this. Thank you to every person who took the time to explain something to me and for all the questions. I've tried my best to respond to as many replies as I could, and I'm so sorry if I missed one. Feel free to PM me if you have questions or I didn't address something. I can't picture someone going through something like this. Edit, thanks for my first silver. I don't think you fucked up at all. I actually think this going to make your lives easier now that you know you have this key difference. Like you said, you understand now why he can't find things himself. Doesn't sound like this has caused problems before, but you could avoid little spats now that you know. This condition sounds fascinating, and the fact that people aren't aware they have it, even more so. I'm wondering whether my husband has this, as he can never picture where anything is, either. I also wonder whether this may be one explanation of why some people love reading, and some people just don't, because they can't picture the things described. Fascinating. With the reading thing, it goes even deeper. I just recently learned that not everyone has an inner monologue in their head. When I read, I say the words out loud in my head, just as I'm doing now when I type. Even when I gotta slowly type to keep from misspelling a word, I just drag out saying the word. Not everyone has that ability. Completely floored me. So now I know not everyone can see pictures in their head. I might be having an existential crisis as we speak. Today I fucked up at an online lecture. This was bound to happen to someone at some point. I'm just mad I was dumb enough to have had it happen to me. This happened literally a few minutes ago, currently sitting in shock and burning up with embarrassment. So thanks to all this quarantine business, lectures have gone online. Well, I was in bed like a good hour before this lecture started, just waiting on my phone to pass the time. One thing leads to another and I end up watching some intimate stuff anyway. So eventually I get an email with the link to the chat room for my lecture. It's sent half an hour early, so I opened up the link and decided I'd just leave the chat room open on my laptop until everyone comes in and the lesson starts, and in the meantime, I'll continue watching what I'm watching. See, the thing about these lectures is that the default setting when entering as a student is mics off, camera off. Even gave a brief look at it before entering the room and was sure I saw they were both off. Lecture starts, and I am just not in the mood for this class. I decide to just leave it on in the background to count for attendance, and I'd catch up on my own time later. Now keep in mind, I'm home alone, so of course, I'm blasting this porn at a fairly loud volume in my room. About half an hour in, the professor pauses the informational video they're playing for us. Yeah, my mic wasn't fucking off. Too long didn't read, was blasting porn while having a live lecture play in the background. Turns out my mic was on and everybody heard. Edit. Alright y'all, few things I guess I should point out cause I don't wanna keep repeating myself in the comments. 1 / I completely understand how some of you find it hard to believe that the professor let it go on for a good 30 minutes. I will clear that up. They were basically talking a whole lot, and playing a couple of videos for us, all of which were at a fairly decent volume. My guess for what happened is that my mic wasn't loud enough for them to have registered it as a separate source of noise until there was a lull in their speech. That being said, I don't know if it was the same for the students. 2 / so, I was watching stuff for a really long time, yeah, but I wasn't doing anything about it, if you catch my drift. Just to put a little perspective on the whole thing, it was a slow day, and I was browsing the internet going down one rabbit hole after the next, and somehow ended up at the stuff I was watching. This was after hours of going through other random stuff. It was purely a dopamine chase. I dunno, I didn't realize that'd be hard for people to believe. But I think I can understand why, because I suppose it's not normal for everyone to be dopamine chasing to that degree, and with the added taboo of the medium I happened to be browsing, it's bound to turn some heads and raise some questions. So, I know that stimulating your brain with dopamine is a thing everyone does, but I will mention that with ADHD it's major amplified. Consequently, a lot of things come into play there. Trouble with impulse control, being unable to pull away from sort of quick burning dopamine. Basically your brain drifting towards whatever's most stimulating. I was kinda hyper focusing on going down this rabbit hole of obscenities, and I guess my brain just didn't pull away from it when it needed to. I mean, obviously, lol. I'm not some pervert who gets off to watching porn at bad times, I was just hyper focusing I guess, and that's the rabbit hole I happened to be going down. It could have very well been how it's made videos or articles about snakes. Like, I was just going, oh that thumbnail looks appealing. No, wait, that one looks appealing. Whoa, that one looks weird. Huh, the person in that thumbnail looks like someone I know. Oh shit, now that thumbnail is sort of ad infinitum. Until I stopped. Of course, your brain can kind of switch off its awareness of anything outside of what you're hyper-focusing on with ADHD, which is kinda what happened here. It just unfortunately happened to be porn. Go fucking figure. Now to be very clear, I really don't mean to bring this ADHD thing up to try and gain sympathy points or whatever. In all honesty, I don't think I care enough about this post to go to those lengths, lol. I just thought maybe it'd help explain some of the behavior that got me into this mess, since that seems to be something a lot of people are questioning. Anyway, sorry about that huge lame chunk of text. There's probably a lot more stuff, but this edit doesn't need to go on any longer than it already has. It's literally longer than the original post. I'm not even sure it helped at all. Generally I do a pretty bad job at explaining things, and for all I know I just made things worse. Lol tongue. Thanks for the cool shiny awards. I really didn't expect this to blow up the way it did, and now I've got Reddit Premium for a month and I'm in like 2 exclusive subreddits on an account I probably won't ever touch again. Be thankful it was only your mic that was on. Yeah, I was waiting for the punchline to be much worse. On the bright side, at least you made the lecture entertaining for once. Man shrugging, nobody wanted to listen to his Mexican midget donkey show porn. Dude, be more efficient. Nothing wrong with knocking one out in 5 minutes. Fucking beats me. I'm lost as to how the professor let it go on for that long too. And to be fair, I was just watching. It's a lot more effort to actually get down to business since I'm a girl and I couldn't just whip it out and get to it. I was tucked up in blankets and shit. I just wasn't bothered. Honestly, half started from just boredom, one of those going down an internet rabbit hole moments. That's probably why I ended up watching for so long. It was basically just the source of temporary dopamine my brain clung to because I just could not focus on that lecture today, or anything for that matter. Never again. So did they know who was watching it? If they didn't know which mic it was coming from, the entertainment factor could be huge. Gah, I know, right? Imagine the ruckus. But no, it shows who the sound is coming from. Frown. Thankfully it's very possible that my name was just buried under everyone else's since I was one of the first people in the room, so maybe not everyone saw. At least that's what I'll tell myself at night when this comes back to haunt me, lol. Probably wouldn't have been as embarrassed if there was so possible way of tracking it down to me. Damn. I wonder how many dudes got a heart attack just because they thought they were the source at first.